All right, today we're going to talk about a really simple idea. It's a philosophy that, honestly, has the power to completely change your life, both personally and professionally. It's really the one thing that separates just making a living from making a fortune. And it all boils down to one simple question.
But first, I want you to really think about this for a second. When you put in a hard day's work, all that energy, all that focus, who's really getting the biggest benefit from all that effort? It's a really important question. And the answer, well, it might just change everything for you. For most of us, the path seems pretty straightforward, right? We get a job, we figure out what we're supposed to do, and we work hard to do it well. This is the standard path.
And look, the result of taking this path is pretty clear. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. You get a paycheck, you can pay your bills, you can build a life. I mean, our whole economy is pretty much built on this idea.
And hey, let's be super clear about this. The person who came up with this philosophy, Jim Rohn, he said it himself, that's fine. Making a living is a good thing, it's a worthy goal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But what if there's another level to all this? So this brings us to the real turning point, a huge shift in thinking that opens up a totally different kind of potential. And this isn't about quitting your job or anything like that. It's about changing where you point your best energy.
So for the guy who came up with this whole idea, that moment of change, that turning point, it hit him when he was just 25 years old. It was this one single realization that completely changed the direction of his entire life.
And he said that everything, and he really meant everything, changed for him once this one single idea finally clicked. It wasn't some new technique or a lucky break. It was just a completely different way of looking at things.
And here it is. This is the big idea. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Let that sink in for a second. It's not about slacking off at your job, not at all. It's about putting even more of your energy into your own growth. Reading that extra book, taking that course, really mastering a new skill.
Okay, so what does this actually look like day to day? Let's kind of break down the real difference between just working on your job versus working on yourself.
So check this out. It really boils down to where the value you're creating ends up. When you work on your job, you're building up your employer's company. But when you work hard on yourself, you become the asset. You're the one becoming more valuable, and that value goes with you no matter where you work.
And we can break this down even more. On the job, your main focus is just hitting your targets, meeting expectations. But when you're focused on yourself, it's all about personal growth, learning new things. So one approach creates value for the company, but the other, that's creating value in you, value that the entire market will recognize.
All right, so where does all this lead? What's the end game here? Because these two ways of working don't just feel different every day, they lead to completely dramatically different results over your lifetime.
So let's go back to that first path, right? The standard way of doing things, where all your hard work is just focused on the job itself.
And like we said, you follow that path and you make a living. It's predictable, it's stable, and it's secure. And that's fine. But what about that other path? What happens when you decide, you know what? I'm going to invest more in myself than I do in just my daily tasks.
You can make a fortune. And a fortune doesn't just mean money, okay? It can mean a fortune in new opportunities, in amazing experiences, in valuable skills, in great relationships. Because here's the secret that changes everything. Your income will always, always follow your personal development. The more valuable you become, the more you earn.
And, to put it in the simplest terms, using the words from the guy who came up with this outcome is just super fun. It's about way more than just being secure. It's about actually thriving, about having the freedom and the resources to live a really extraordinary life.
All right, so as we start to wrap this up, let's bring it all back home, back to you.
So if you take away just one thing, let it be this. Think of it like this. Working on your job, that secures your present. It pays the bills right now. But working on yourself, that builds your future. It makes you into the person who will achieve so much more tomorrow. And that really leaves us with one final very important question for you to think about. As you go through your week, just take a look at where your best, most creative energy is really going. Are you just maintaining your current position, or are you actively building a more skilled, more capable, more valuable version of yourself? So the real question is, are you just building your job, or are you building yourself?